Hi there, so in this video I'm going to teach you how to use future forms in English. I hope you enjoy. So before we get started on using future forms in English, I thought it would be also important to give you a small overview of which three main tenses we need in English. The first is the past. The past is used for actions that are complete, that are finished. An example of a past action would be, I walked to school yesterday. Next we have the present. We use this for actions happening as we speak, so at the moment, or for actions that happen routinely, so that happen every week or every year. For example, I walk to school every day. Finally, we have the future. So this is to talk about an action that might happen tomorrow, or next week, or next year. And this is the one that we're going to be focusing on today. And an example of a future would be, I will walk to school tomorrow. The next part of this video is then going to focus on our first future form, which is the will future. So we're going to start with the will future, where I'm going to take you through certain rules and guidelines on how to use it. So let's have a look at situation number 1. So you get home and your mum tells you, your granny called. So you say, okay, I will call her back. What you're doing here is you're making a spontaneous decision. This is a decision that you are making on the spot. So this means that you are making it right at that moment. In situation number 2, your teacher asks you how you think school will be in 20 years. You answer, schools will not use books in 20 years. So what you're doing here is making a general prediction about the future. I'm also going to add an image of a woman with a crystal ball. I'm using this to emphasize, just like with a fortune teller, we can't be sure if schools really won't use books in 20 years' time. So it also depends a lot on someone's personal opinion. We also use the will future for offers. For example, I'll pay for dinner this time. And finally, for situation 4, we also use it for promises. And for this, I'm going to show you a very short clip of Whitney Houston singing a very famous song that you might recognize. And finally, we're going to get to the form of the will future, and it might be a good idea here to just pause the video and write this down. Okay, so in this next part, we're going to focus on to be going to future. And here there are 2 main uses. We often use to be going to future for something that we can see that is going to happen, or that we feel is going to happen. So we use to be going to future for a prediction based on a fact. And here I'm giving you the example. You're outside right now and you can see that there are dark clouds in the sky. So you say, oh, it is going to rain soon. And this is an example of a to be going to future, because we can see that something is going to happen. We also use to be going to future for plans. So these are decisions that we have made some moment before, which is very different from the will future, where we are making a spontaneous decision. And here I've given you the example, I am going to be a teacher. So this is someone's plan. And underneath the rules, you'll once again find a table with the to be going to futures form. And I recommend here that you once again pause the video and write this down. I'm now going to move on to the third form of the future, which is the present continuous. So usually we use the present continuous to describe an action that is happening at the moment. For example, the baby is crying. So here we're describing an action that is happening right at this moment. However, the present continuous can also be used for the future. And we often use it for appointments. For example, if you're going to see a doctor or a dentist. These appointments also normally have a specific date and time. We also use the present continuous for the near future, so something that's only a few hours away. For example, we are going to the cinema tonight. It is also important to note that there is often hardly a difference between the present continuous as future and the to be going to future. And I've also added the table with the present continuous as form. So in this final part of the video, we are going to focus on the present simple as future. We normally use the present simple for daily routines and facts. For example, I walk to school every day, or your hair is blue. However, the present simple can also be used for timetables, which means that we can use it for a train, for a bus timetable, for a plane, or even for a school timetable. So I'm going to give you a real example to help prove my point. So let's imagine that you're at the train station right now, and it's 12 o'clock, and your train leaves in 5 minutes. The space in time from where we are now, which is 12 o'clock, and where the train leaves, which is in 5 minutes, is 5 minutes in the future. So even though we're using the present simple here, this present simple has a future meaning. Okay, so that was the end of this video. Thank you for watching, and remember, if there's anything that's unclear, you can always pause and replay.